Hello and welcome back to Flash Knockdown Series 6, episode number 10. Would you believe it? We've not been sacked yet. Here's what we have coming up for you all on today's show. Promoter Eddie Hearn joins us to review our Orlando show, discuss the Ghana announcement and much more from the boxing world, including controversial scorecards and Ambulance Gate, which has continued this week. The Gorilla John Ryder is in the studio to discuss his transition from professional fighter to coach and take on our weekly charity quiz. 20-year-old 10-0 middleweight hotshot prospect Leli Buttigieg stops by the studio here in Finchley to talk his next outing on December the 17th. Showtime's Sonny Edwards joins us on the phone as well to discuss his promising stable of fighters, his recent surgery and potentially a ring return next year. And of course, there's all the usual chat, quiz and much more coming up. You know what to do. Don't go. Well, very happy to say, as always, joining us on Flash Knockdown is promoter Eddie Hearn. It's always quite fun trying to guess where Eddie is in the world, and I believe you're downstairs in a gym somewhere, aren't you, right now, posing?
I'm in a gym, still on the East Coast, and getting ready for Virgil Ortiz against Lubin on Saturday. Going to be in Dallas with Boots, and then the Dalton Smith press conference as well, before heading to London for the big one. Eubank, Benn and Redemption next Saturday at Tottenham Hotspur. We'll
just start, Eddie, by reviewing the past weekend's action, as always. Quite a lot went on, actually, but from a Matchroom perspective, first of all, who caught the attention of Eddie Hearn from ringside in Orlando?
Well, I mean, two of our top prospects from around the world on both sides of the Atlantic. I mean, firstly, Pat Brown, just absolutely phenomenal in Orlando. I mean, we know over here how good this young man is. Obviously, the American audience got to see that. It was a massive statement on his US debut, a big step up against Felix Valera, and just a complete demolition job. I'm so excited about the future of Pat Brown. I think he's a world champion in waiting. Only 5 fights, of course. There is a long way to go, but at 25 years of age, just phenomenal. And I think Amari Jones as well, you know, hometown hero, huge support for him in Orlando. And again, look, razor sharp against a guy that was supposed to give him rounds as well. And we're very blessed with the team of young prospects we have. But I think, those two were outstanding on Saturday.
What did you make of the main event?
I think, it was a difficult fight for both in some respects. I mean, firstly, for Jordan Thompson, you know, he moves up to heavyweight after 2 years out of the ring, fighting, you know, the WBA number 2 in the world. And I thought he gave a fantastic account of himself. You know, when I got in the ring after, him and you know, Don Charles were like, what do you think? What do you think? I was like, no, you know, you've lost the fight, because the first 6 rounds of the fight, you allowed Perot to win basically every round. You didn't believe in yourself. You didn't assert yourself in the fight. But as you started to believe in yourself, you started to win rounds. And I actually thought Jordan Thompson won the back half of the fight, but he didn't bank enough rounds to get the decision, and obviously got hurt himself in the 9th round. But I think he can come away from that and go, you know what? I mean, I look good. Technically, he's very good. I said, you've got to use your size more. You've got to believe in yourself. He's a massive man. Perot was okay. I think sometimes we've got to remember as well, he's only had 12 fights. He hasn't boxed on that kind of occasion before, but he's got to be much better if he's going to be a world champion contender. You know, and I think he will be as well. I think it's the first time he got himself in decent shape. He's got to get himself in better shape. But he's a great talent, and he's going to be involved in some big fights. He's going to have to be better if he's going to win those fights. And for Jordan Thompson, I really believe he can come again. I think there's some big domestic fights out there for him. And, you know, he's just, like I said, just got to believe in himself, but he's got to get active as well. It's difficult to come back after that kind of layoff.
Speaking of big fights for Leni Perot, is it Big Baby Miller, your old mate? You seem pretty chummy at ringside.
Yeah, it was a bit random, really, to be honest with you. I mean, like he said he was driving down for the show, and then all of a sudden he was sitting ringside, and then all of a sudden he was in the ring after, none of which I orchestrated, which makes a change. But, like, he just popped up in the ring calling Perot out. So Big Baby Miller against Perot, I don't mind the fight, you know. But it's a tough fight for Perot, you know, after that showing. Like I said, he's got to be much better.
Big news as well, Ed, because we are on the plane to Africa, Ghana. Just tell us how this has come about and how excited you are from a Matchroom perspective as well.
Yeah, so obviously there's been a lot of discussions with Anthony Joshua, Frank Smith, Freddie Cunningham, 258, about a potential AJ fight in Ghana next year. But they have been doing a lot of shows. I mean, I watched a show previously. It was absolutely wild. The atmosphere was incredible. And then we got the invite, if you like, the opportunity to be part of a show there in December to promote the show, to have our fighters across the board. And you've seen that with obviously Craig Richards against Dan Aziz is a great fight. Huge opportunity and experience for Leo Atang, Nishant Dev and others as well. So we're looking forward to it. It's our first show in Africa. And I think it's going to be the start of many more. Boxing in Africa seems to be flying at the moment. You know, there are discussions about a possible Anthony Joshua fight in Africa in 2026 as well. So we'll have to see, but really excited to add that to what is a mad end of the year. I mean, from next week, it's 7 straight weeks till basically New Year's Eve, and every continent virtually covered in the world, and we can't wait.
You were quoted, Eddie, last week in Florida about AJ fighting this side of 2026. In terms of potentially when that could happen, like you look at the shows, you look at Saudi at the end of December, you look at this one in Ghana, you look at the Indigo at the O2, I can't imagine it's going to be that one. So if he does land, where is it most likely to be?
Well, he's actually a big fan of the Indigo. So I don't know. I get asked this question about 30 times a day. And I said yes rather than no. I don't know what happened, but it's actually caused me massive problems because every media outlet is asking me, well, they're guessing, is it going to be Stockton? Is it going to be, Birmingham? Is it going to be Ghana? And the answer is I don't know. I mean, look, there have been some conversations with Jake Paul's team. We know that. Whether that's a possibility, I don't know. But, it's honestly, like, I don't know if he's going to fight in 2025. I think there's a very good chance he can. But then when I say that, everyone goes, well, where? And they start kind of analysing, every potential venue, etc. So he's just about, as I said, and you all know, started training camp. And he's looking to fight, whether that's February, whether that's Jake Paul, whether that's one of our existing shows this year. Anything's possible at this stage.
From what we understand as well, Eddie, he's not with Ben Davison anymore. What can you tell us?
No, I mean, I don't think there's any confirmed decision on that. AJ travels around the world a lot. He likes to go into training camps. He likes to explore. He likes to learn. And that's really what he's doing at the moment. It's been well documented. He popped in and saw the Usyk team, did some work with them. So, yeah, I don't think anything official. And when there is anything official, it will come from Anthony Joshua.
You mentioned Jake Paul there, another pal of yours. It looks like recently from social media that he wants to fight Francis Ngannou. What do you make of that whole situation?
I don't know. I mean, look, I know that there's been some conversations with myself and Nikisa. I think Jake and AJ have spoke as well. From our point of view, if we're going to have a run-out fight, why not run out against Jake Paul, for a lot of money? So there's ongoing conversations there. I can't tell you it's close. I can't tell you we've seen a contract. But if he genuinely wants to fight Anthony Joshua, I don't see why we wouldn't have a chance to do that fight. But, our focus is on really a charge for the World Heavyweight Championship and a charge at Tyson Fury. We can't control that either. So, like I said, that's why I said to you, absolutely at the moment, anything is possible. And that includes a potential Jake Paul fight.
Just elsewhere, Eddie, in the boxing world, the Queensberry show, again, it just seems a bit of a running theme in boxing these days, that it's the scorecards that are capturing the headlines. Did you manage to catch any of the Joshua Buatsi fight and the rest of the show?
We had it on the phone while we were at the show ourselves in Orlando. I didn't watch the whole fight. I watched many rounds. I was listening to Carl Frampton's commentary, who basically said that Zach Parker won every round apart from one round, and that was a sympathy round for Joshua Buatsi. So when you're hearing that kind of commentary, you can't possibly think that Zach Parker's going to lose the fight. So I haven't had a chance to watch the whole fight. I don't think there was one person other than the judges who thought Joshua Buatsi won the fight by the sounds of things. So you got a feel for Zach Parker, but I haven't seen it in full. It's a worrying trend, and I don't know what the answer to, because every time there's a bad set of scorecards, everybody just goes, yeah, but scoring's subjective, and that is 100% true. But unfortunately for people like Zach Parker, it's taking away his opportunities and his dreams and a lot of money in a fight that no one saw Joshua Buatsi winning other than couple of geezers ringside.
What would you do if you were in charge now? What would you change?
I just think you have to keep evolving and making sure the judges are as good as possible. And I think judges have to be accountable to explain their decision. If scoring is subjective, which we know it is, then let's at least hear their reasons for it. And probably the reasons in that fight, judging by what happened in the fight, was Zach Parker was being extremely defensive. He was boxing off the back foot, and Buatsi was pressing the fight. but you can press the fight and get outlanded or, outboxed, or just because you're coming forward doesn't mean you're going to win the rounds. But some judges like aggression. That is a fact, and also the problem is as well is a lot of fighters, a lot of judges, they like a certain style. They've heard of Buatsi. They probably haven't heard of Zach Parker. I don't know. There's all kinds of things that come into it. But what I would do is I would want judges to be held accountable and just to explain their decision a little bit more and keep evolving. And, there's always a lot of talk about kind of ex-fighters and stuff like that. The problem is with that is ex-fighters know other fighters. They know other promoters. They know other managers. They know other trainers. They have relationships with those teams. That becomes quite difficult as well. So I think we can all moan about it, and we're right to moan, but it's very difficult to know what the answer is. But I think at least an explanation from the judges as to why they were the only people in the world that scored it like that is really the least we should get as fans.
When you look at that,
and more importantly, the fighter.
And when you look at that domestic scene, just quickly at 175, Craig Richards, Dan Aziz, Joshua Buatsi, Zach Parker, are these all guys that you think will be next in the frame to face someone like Ben Whittaker?
Yeah, as I said, for Ben Whittaker, there's three layers right now. There's the great domestic fights, there's the world level domestic fights, and then there's the real elite guys. So up the top, you've got Benavidez, Bivol, Beterbiev. And then underneath that, you've got Callum Smith. Although he's an elite guy, he's still in that mix of the ones that aren't world champions and haven't won a world title at 75. And you've got Yard in there as well. I mean, Buatsi, I guess you have to put him in there even after Saturday. But, and then beneath that, you've got Craig Richards, you've got Dan Aziz, you've got Willie Hutchinson, you've got those guys. So Ben's going to go through every one of those levels. And the intention is that he sits in that top tier. But to do it, you have to go through the levels. He's only had 10 fights. He hasn't really fought any serious opposition yet. November 29 will tell us where he's at. But those names that I mentioned in tier 3, if you like, are the guys that will be targeting spring-summer of 2026.
Last couple there before we let you go. In terms of what's happening this weekend with Virgil Ortiz, tough fight for him against Lubin, but you're going to be ringside with Jaron Ennis, all going well. Could we see a face-off?
I'm not sure Golden Boy want to get involved in all that, which is a little bit disheartening. But look, we're going to show the world that we want the fight. Like, we're making the effort to go, right? I haven't got a show this weekend. I'm on the East Coast, but I'm going to Dallas. I love boxing, but I'm going for one reason. For me and Boots to sit there, watch a potential opponent, but more importantly, make it known to the world that we want this fight. And we want this fight. We can chase world champions and they can chase world champions. But the reality is, Boots against Ortiz is one of the best fights that can be made in boxing. It's there to be done. It's already been pre-agreed in a room with me, Oscar, and DAZN. Let's sign the contracts. But he's got to come through Saturday. It's not an easy fight.
And just finally, Ambulance Gate is back.
Yeah.
What did you make of the video that surfaced?
Yeah, it's frustrating because obviously, look, it's with our lawyers and, Chris can kind of worm and weasel around what he said, but you got to look at what he said, and I saw the video and yes, he went to a gate and this is long after the event has finished. And I believe the control room at Tottenham Hotspur have to approve the gates to be open, of which that's what happened. What he said was Eddie Hearn and Matchroom stopped the ambulance from leaving. And unfortunately, those who don't quite have the intellect to deal with that can get bemused and be bewildered by a little bit of clever editing. We have to ensure that people can get to the hospital as soon as possible, of course. And that's the hands of the British Boxing Board of Control and the medical services, of which I believe Robert Smith was on TalkSport this morning and, gave a full statement. They've had a full investigation and were happy with their procedures. But it's not what Chris Eubank said. Chris Eubank said that Eddie Hearn and Matchroom stopped the ambulance from leaving Tottenham Hotspur. He accused me of stopping him from getting medical attention, which, as I've said before, I will not have it. So you can try and weasel around with some clever editing, but the reality is stand on what you said or apologise. And if you think that's what I've done, you can say it again, but you won't hear him say it again. He'll just say, no, what I'm actually trying to say is, no, what you said was bang out of order. It was defamation and it'll be dealt with. But he's stubborn and he'll try and trick and, be smart on social media. But, it is what it is. That the fight's the fight and that's what's important. And the other stuff will be dealt with in due course.
You're up for next week, aren't you? I imagine.
I'm bang up for it. Of course, I'm always up for it. How can you not be up for 70,000 people at Spurs in a bad blood rematch? So forget scoring points on social media. Conor Benn has worked meticulously in this training camp. No bullshit. No trying to, get fans on the side, do this, do that. Like, just graft. Hard work and graft for redemption at Tottenham Hotspur next week, and that's what we're gunning for.
Top man, Eddie. Pleasure as always. Thanks so much for your time. I know you're a busy man, so we'll let you carry on your workout session. Men's Health cover 2026 coming soon, I believe.
Right, see you later.
Cheers, mate. Well, throughout Series 6 so far, we've been very fortunate to be joined by some of the best up-and-coming prospects in the Matchroom stable. And today is, in fact, no different. Joining us now is 10-0, 20 years old, Leli Buttigieg. Leli, thanks so much for coming down. I guess, firstly, when you look at the last fight, York Hall, another really tough opponent, were cut as well in that fight, a lot more lessons learned. How is the cut healing up, first of all?
Yeah, the cut's healing up nice. I had my stitches at the beginning of this week, so yeah, it's healing up good. We'll go back to sparring this week and get ready for December.
What did you make of your performance at York Hall and the challenge that was in front of you as well?
I'm very critical of myself. I don't think I wasn't the most happy with it, but when I watched it back, I thought I see where I have to work on things and where we need to go and what we need to go work on in the gym. So yeah, it was better when I watched it back, but a game opponent, experienced, never been stopped before. So yeah, I was quite happy with it, to be honest.
So just announced December 17th, you're back in action. And when you look at that'll be your fifth fight of 2025. And when you look at who you've boxed as well, like you started off the year against James Todd, who had just come off an unbelievable fight with Commonwealth Games bronze medalist Aaron Bowen, had him down in that fight. You beat him well, and then 3 opponents with winning records on the spin since then. What have you made of your 2025 in general so far?
Yeah, good, to be honest. The opponents have gradually stepped up and my performances have got better. So it shows like the better the opponents are, the more like I can bring, the more comes out of me. And just to keep stepping up gradually, not be rushed into anything. I'm still young, but I'll be ready for whatever comes my way.
When the names are put to you, I know you've got a great team around you, but you ever like, bloody hell, any chance of an easier touch, or do you enjoy these tough names that are being put to you so early in your career?
No, I enjoy it. It makes me want to train harder in the gym. It makes me more like tunnel vision, more hungry, and like it makes me more excited to go to the gym and actually work on things. So I'm enjoying it, gradually stepping up, and I'm sure I'll be in some big fights next year.
How's life changed for you since you turned professional a couple of years ago?
To be honest, like quite the same. Boxing, gym, home. That's it. It's my life basically. As an amateur, it's the same. Literally live in the gym, come home, but that's all I do. Literally live the life, training or fighting.
I've asked all the young fighters this question who have come on the show, but why was it boxing? Why was that something that you turned your hand to?
To be honest, it's like the only thing I was good at. Literally, I just love to fight. My dad put me into boxing when I was young, at the age of 7, and it just stuck me since. I literally love the sport, but more than I love anything else. So this is my life.
How quickly did you sort of start to believe, I guess, that this was something that you wanted to pursue and you wanted to do as a career?
From after I won my first national title, it was my dream to win the Golden Gloves. And as a schoolboy, I failed it the first 2 years, and then my third try, I won the Golden Gloves. And after that, I thought maybe I can carry on, keep winning things, and I carried on winning national titles since. Travelled the world, like boxed for England, and then turned pro at Matchroom. So this is my life now, and I'm trying to go all the way.
How pleased are you turned over when you look at what you've achieved in just 10 fights?
I'm happy with that. I wanted to turn pro at age of 18. A lot of people said, he's too young. You get roughed out, you're going to be in with grown men, you won't deal with it. And to be honest, I've proved them wrong. I'm 10-0 now, turning 21 in March. So I proved a lot of people wrong, and we should be pushing on for titles next year.
What do you think's changed about in terms of, I guess, when you think about the 18-year-old Leli Buttigieg? I remember it was Belfast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You won in the first round, did you not? I think on your debut, I remember it. And was that was the Michael Conlon Jordan Gill show? Was it that one?
Undercard, yeah.
And you look at that Leli to the one who sits here now. 10-0, big fight coming up in December as well, which we'll talk about. But what do you think's most changed, and what have you most learnt about yourself in this time? Do you think?
To be honest, this boxing is like, it's sprung something out at me, as I've gradually stepped up. It's as the levels go on, I can unlock a new character in myself and release something. That's what it is. Bring out a new version of me.
How important do you think boxing is then, based on what you just said there, for confidence and self-belief, particularly in young people? Why do you think it's such an important sport?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is down to actually believing in yourself to go like all the way. I think you need to believe in yourself. If not, you're in the wrong sport. You literally boxing is down to self-belief and working hard.
Was it a bit of an outlet for you at school? What were you like growing up at school?
But to be honest, I didn't really like school. I used to only like school to go in and mess about with my mates and that. I used to climb out of school. Like after school, I used to jog home in my uniform and get ready for boxing. Like in school, I'd be thinking about boxing all day. I used to bunk off lessons, sit on the stairs and just watch boxing, waiting to go training. So yeah, that's it. I didn't really like school, to be honest.
Who did you used to watch? Who was your early inspiration from a boxing perspective?
I used to like Mike Tyson. Just the way he was, the way he trained. I thought he was a beast. And like when I watch training and like the way he trains, that's how I want to go into the gym. Just give it 100%. Because I know like the more I bleed and the more I sweat and training, the less you're going to bleed when you go to fight.
What do you make of the domestic scene right now in and around middleweight?
I think it's a very good division. There's a lot of good competition, a lot of good fights that can be made. But yeah, I'm not into cooling out. I'm just going to carry on working hard. And if I'm sure the fights will happen because I know where I'm heading to. So yeah, be some big fights for Leli Buttigieg.
So even though you're not a fan of calling them out, I'm allowed to. Obviously, I can stir the pot. But like the likes of obviously Jimmy Sains, George Liddard, who you shared a card with very recently, are they all names that you believe down the line you'll be in the ring with?
Yeah, the fights that could happen. We're in the same division. To be honest, I've known Jimmy for a long time. We used to box at a Newham Boxing Club, and Jimmy was always in like the group above me, and he was actually one of the ones I used to look up to in Newham Boxing Club. Like, I want to be like Jimmy and win national titles. And it's crazy now we're all in the same division, and these are big fights that can happen. But yeah, I've got a lot of respect for Jimmy Sains and George.
You always get introed as the Maltese monster. Just talk to us about your Maltese heritage and how proud you are of that as well.
I go to Malta every year, and Malta actually has some good fighters. We're known for tough people, we're known for fighting and literally working hard. So yeah, I'm very happy to be from Malta, and like it's a privilege, and I want to show like how good that fighters there are from that country.
Is it your mum or your dad from Malta?
Both.
Both. Okay, so 100% Maltese.
Yeah.
Then? Okay, I never knew that.
Yeah, I go every year for holiday, so it's nice.
Okay, so were you born in Malta, or?
No, I was born here.
Born in East London?
Yeah, born in East London.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, E3.
Yeah. I used to live in Stratford, lived in, the Bow Bells pub?
Yeah, pretty much. That's like 2 minutes.
Lived in there as well, pretty much. But, mate, it's cool, like, in terms of when you think about Malta, like, you talk about the fighters, Joe Cordina as well, obviously a Maltese Welsh fighter, is very proud of his heritage as well, and often talks about one day having a big show over there. I mean, what would that mean to you to be involved in that?
Yeah, that would be literally a dream of mine, to be honest, to go and fight there. That's what I want to do. I want to go over to Malta and bring a lot of people out there with me. I've got a few family over there, so that'd be a dream of mine to fight there. So
before we know who you're fighting, December 17th, what's the big prediction from Leli Buttigieg once again, though, for his own performance?
A good performance. It's just a win. I know I'm going to get the win regardless. I'm coming there. This is everything to me, and me lose, I can't see myself losing. I'm going to give it everything I've got. I'm coming.
Do you think you're a bit of a throwback fighter, Leli, in the sense that, you get, for example, one thing I love about boxing is the different characters you have. Even at the early stages of their career, we had Hamza Uddin in here who was saying, which camera? Yeah. He was telling this camera here that he's the next superstar of boxing. You're a slightly different character. It seems to me that you do your talking in the ring. Why do you think that's so important to you?
To be honest, I just think that's where it matters. I can do all this talking outside of here, but at the end of the day, there's only going to be two of us in the ring. We're going to fight, and if I'm doing all this talking out here and then I get in the ring and I don't perform, then what did my talking mean to the cameras? I feel like when I fight in the ring and I win in good fashion, that's the way I talk, and that's what people are going to see. If I'm here just doing all this talking, I don't really mean much. In the ring, that's where it means stuff.
Big fights coming up. One I want to ask you about is on a poster behind me, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next weekend. How do you see the rematch going with Eubank Jr and Conor Benn?
I'm going with Conor Benn this time. Is it the same for the weight?
I believe so. I believe it's exactly the same.
Yeah, I think Conor Benn. If Conor Benn win it this time, I think he could even stop him.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the training clips and he looks even more bad than the last time.
And in terms of yourself, just finally, Leli, I guess I've asked all the young fighters who have come on the show this question, but when you watch this back in the years to come, although you're not necessarily interested in calling people out, you have ambition, you have a dream. What is the dream? Where do you believe you go in the sport of boxing?
I want to be a world champion. Since a little boy, I've always dreamed I'd be a world champion. I want to start off with like the British title and picking up domestic titles, but in the end, I want to be a world champion by the end of my career, 100%.
Okay, well, Emmanuel Leli Buttigieg, the Maltese monster, certainly one to watch out for. Currently telling OB a match very hard at the early stage of his professional journey. Says no to absolutely no man. Back in action December 17th at the Indigo, the O2, live on DAZN. Certainly, as I say, one to watch out for. Leli, thanks so much for coming down, and best of luck in the rest of the camp.
Thank you.
Top man.
Cheers, Jamie.
Bosh. Okay, we're very happy to say joining us on the Flash Knockdown show this week is former IBF World Flyweight Champion, Showtime, Sonny Edwards. Sonny, the immediate question I have to ask you, it was quite well documented on social media that you went under the knife for a bit of surgery. Just firstly, how are you doing and how is the recovery going?
Yeah, I'm into my second phase. I had to get a cast change about 6 days ago. The first week or two was rough. I'll be honest with you, Jamie, but it's something I've been putting off since before I was a British champion, to be honest. I walked into that fight with 2 completely damaged hands. Then I learned I could get injections, and then I just avoided the surgeon until this month. I was always scared, if I'm being brutally honest. Scared of being put to sleep, scared of being cut open, scared of everything. So my idea was always just train and keep fighting. But yeah, I had arthritis in my hand, which I didn't know about. All the ligaments and tendons were damaged, and they had to remove a part of my bone from my hand. They had to take a part of my bone from my hip, and then they had to bolt it together with 2 or 3 metal bolts. So that's what I had to have done. But yeah, a good 4-5 years training, one-handed, getting injections 10-11 days before the fight, and then competing with a numbed hand that I hadn't really been able to train was the literal last 4 or 5 years of my career. Whenever I beat Marcel Braithwaite, that was the fight that in camp I damaged my hand for.
Now you've had it done.
So, yeah.
Listen, you're retired, right? Apparently. But you've had a hand operation done. Have you been shadowboxing around your living room yet, or what's happening?
I've done a little bit. Like right now, this is where we're at to. Look. That's where we're at right now. So I don't know how much legs that's got, Jamie, if I'm honest. So yeah, not too much. I'm getting fat though. Is my problem.
Yeah, you're enjoying retired life. You've deserved it, mate. You know, you're a pundit now. You've been a world champion. Why shouldn't you enjoy yourself?
You know what? I've been on the Jamie Ward diet. You know, the hotel to bar to restaurant to, you know what I mean? I've been on that gig for the last 12 months really.
Hang on a minute. You just said I'm getting fat. I've been on the Jamie Ward diet. Fucking cheers, mate. Brilliant.
Well, no, what I mean by that is when you're an international man of mystery and traveling the world, one 4+ star hotel at a time, usually a slightly better room than what the fighters are getting, and flight. I'm just saying, normally it comes with calories. You know what I mean? It does.
What honestly, Sonny, right? What percentage would you put on a comeback? Do you want to come back?
I think it depends on how, just to name a few of them, you know, Giorgio, Leo, Ish, get on in their next few fights. I think if it goes the right way, then I won't need to come back, Jamie. You know what I mean? But if they all start getting beat, then I might have to come back, Jamie. You know what I mean?
I know, but what about, regardless of that, I know you love what you do with the young fighters, and we'll talk about that in a minute, in an advisor role, but what about the itch? Is there still unfinished business from yourself? Do you feel like you still have more to give to professional boxing?
Well, quite frankly, I still feel like I'm the biggest thing in flyweight world boxing. So I'll probably wait for someone else to come near that torch if I was to ever come back. But right now, it's like even fighters beating me don't even do it for them. You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of groundwork in between me and the rest of them. I think like no one knows our division. We're typically under 5'5" and way less than the average female. So it's hard for people to get anyone interested in anything we do in a boxing ring. It is a hard thing to do. That's why I stand out so much, because there's so few of us that makes sense.
Do you think part of the reason maybe you haven't missed it as much is because you've been so involved? Obviously, since the Galal fight, you've took up your position on the Zone. You're a commentator on all the UK shows for Matchroom. You host Small Talk with Charlie Parsons. Do you think that's scratched the itch in different ways for you, being ringside on many big nights?
And I managed 13, 14 fighters and some of the best prospects, I think, of the next generation. When, without just naming all of them, when you look at the likes of a Giorgio Visioli and Leo Atang, a Bobby Flood, who's coming through the ranks very soon, and other fighters that I've got as well, I'm in a position where I'm not only doing a lot of work with Matchroom, and I've been blessed to sort of have that seamless transition, but I was purposefully setting up for the last 2-3 years of my professional career my next stages. My first fighter I managed was Thomas Asomba, turned him in from a journeyman, really, and an opponent, to a European champion. He was my first fighter that I started managing. That must have been now about 4 years ago. And I can remember the very, very last sticking point of me signing to Matchroom was me asking for 4 commentary gigs in my first year. And I did about 7 in about 4 or 5 months. Like I was made busier than I expected to be, and I really enjoy it. Like the commentary side of things, I love. I've got a deep passion for the commentary. The management, a deep passion as well. Being part of a team, helping building brand, storyline, match, prepare, fighter. That's my passion. It always has been boxing. I've been put into some positions, say about the Small Talk, where maybe naturally I didn't ever really think it was something that was for me, if that makes sense. You know, like the presenting side of things. But I'm so glad I've done and been doing it, because I've worked on parts of, you know, my personality, my career, that I don't think I would have ever went out my own way to do, or maybe even feel possible to do. So yeah, it's been a crazy year. I was counting the shows that I'd worked on just this year alone from Matchroom, and it was every single UK one so far since I retired, apart from Conway Liddard, is the only fight I've missed. And that's only because it was 2 days after my operation. If it was now, I'd be able to have done it. And it's kind of just following on from my childhood. My dad had us at every boxing show, amateurs. If anyone from our gym was fighting, we was there. If obviously we was fighting, we was there. Even if it was just like the ABA finals, we'd go. You know what I mean? Even when we're kids, like my weekends have been taken up by boxing since I was 9 years old. So, like the hardest thing this year probably was the 6-week summer holiday we had when those shows happened. I was cracking up. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't training. Went to the gym a few times, but like that felt more alien, because usually when I've been in competition, even if I'm not training for a fight, I'm still in and around the gym. Do you know what I mean? Doing something. Yeah, when that, what was it, the 1st or the 4th of September, the show that Leo and Brad Casey boxed on, McCormack against the Mexican guy, I felt like a kid at Christmas that the boxing season had started. I realised how sad I was, James. I realised how sad I was.
One question I do have for you then. Do you think then a physically fit Sonny Edwards, fixed hand, is good enough to win a world title next year?
Oh, I probably wouldn't even needed to fix my hand to win a world title. I just had to start training properly, really. But with a fixed hand that already feels in way stronger, and now the pain sort of died off. I saw why people got addicted to painkillers for the first time. I never understood it. Now I understand it. I had a week on some heavy painkillers, and I just had to just stop them point blank and just feel the pain. Because if I had another week on them, I probably wouldn't have went back, Jamie. I mean, I probably wouldn't have. They're next level they are. But I was scared, if I'm honest. I was scared of, like I said before, I was scared of it all. I never wanted to. Like, I've done all the ligaments in my ankles. They're all snapped. They're all ruptured. Yeah. I've never had surgery on them, because once the expert said, well, you can have surgery, or you can just really strengthen up the areas around them. Well, guess what my remedy was? Strengthen up the areas around them. I wasn't having surgery. But now, yeah, I don't know. I definitely get a world title shot because who else is there to fight in the flyweight division that anyone cares about? Really? You've got 6-0 kids that won't fight for the British title but win an English title, putting out videos telling everyone in the next superstar boxing. Like,
well, maybe you can come back and fight Hamza Uddin.
I'm actually a little bit of a fan of his. Like, don't get me wrong, I'd punch his head all over the gap, but I do think he's good. I do think he's good at boxing and good for the division. Like, I'm a big champion of my division, and I'm like being a bit cheeky and saying there's not, but it's because no one does anything. No one does anything that breaks the mold in these divisions, and we don't have the luxury of, okay, well, I'm fighting at British level and there's all these opponents that everyone's already seen before. We don't have that. Like, I love every time I see a flyweight on a live broadcast. I really do. Like, genuinely. So, I know I'm being a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I'm a fan of his and what he's doing and making some noise, and he's flashy, and he hasn't really fought anyone yet worth even thinking about when he's telling everyone he's the next superstar in boxing. But good on him, really. Good on him. And if I ever did come back, I would just want to be a part of events. Like, I've been a world champion. I think I could be one again if I wanted to do all of that. I think I'm good enough to do that with the right preparation. But even if I did come back, I don't even know if that would be my goal. To seek out the world titles and build the rankings and do this. And the conversation will be, what's the biggest fight? I've been Ring Magazine #1 for 2 years. Even if you think I'm past it now, the moment I've retired, the reality of the world of boxing is the moment I've retired to now, to this very moment now, if you compare the career of mine and Galal's, let's just say, he's been seen once when the fight got announced in Sheffield, a couple of times on fight week, and then he got beat by a drugs cheat. And no one's seen him before or after that since he's been in or out the ring with me. But if you look at me, I've been at the ring, lost, probably stole the show with the, I don't want to be there, and the retirement and the sob story and all of that, which came after it. And then every single show you've seen since then, if it's a Matchroom show, I'm commentating at some part of it, doing the after party or the pre-weigh-in, after weigh-in party with the small talk. I am managing fighters and doing their corners consistently. The most cards, I'm doing all 3 jobs in one night. I've got other fighters with other promoters in world boxing. I've traveled across to America with fighters. Like, I've been active. I've been present. I've been in your face without being in your face. I'm not a busy fool. I'm working. I don't chase graph, Jamie, as you know. You know what I mean? I don't chase it. But I'm always ready to get involved. I'm always ready to give up my time. And it's what boxers, especially the boxers that I work for, they deserve. Whether it's a 4-rounder or a 12-round title fight, they need the person that represents them to be there representing them just in case. You know what I mean? So I've been doubling down and probably, if anything, made my platform even bigger now than it has ever been, potentially, even without immediate Sonny Edwards exciting news, because people used to be fighting, now they just see me commentating or bringing a fighter to the ring or announcing a fighter that I manage next fight. But I would say I've been busier and my platform is probably bigger. My voice in boxing is probably bigger than it ever has been. It's probably now.
All right, well, listen, Sonny. Listen, glad to see that you're on the mend, first and foremost. Hope to see you continuing to shadow box around your living room. Hope to see you back in a professional boxing ring in 2026. That's my opinion anyway. I want to see you back. I think it's a great story. Maybe we can WWE it. You can slide under the ropes from the commentary desk. I'm back.
Yeah, I can't lie. Like, that was already my thought process. If I ever did come back, like, I wouldn't just come back like, I wouldn't just put like an Instagram post out or like an interview somewhere. I would wait for the fight that I want to fight to be in the ring, and I would jump off over the top rope, grab the belt out of their hands, and make it really WWE drama show. Because I felt like the more I've spent not just in the gym worrying about boxing and preparing for a fight, like, I've really taken a lens of boxing probably better and understood it better than at any point in my career. What a lot of people don't get about me is when I was selling fights and doing everything, it was very like natural, not rehearsed, not pre-planned. Like I was just a reactive person. If someone said something I didn't like, now I'm gonna say two things you don't like, and that's always just the way that I was. And I don't know. Now I'd probably go a bit more WWE style if I was to do it again.
Okay. Well, listen, rest up, Sonny, and I'll catch you next week for the big one in London.
I appreciate you, Jay.
Thanks for your time, mate.
Good to speak to you.
Well, Flash Knockdown has actually been going on for quite a number of years now on the audio side of things. Obviously, Series 6 has been revamped with our brand new studio. But one guest who has been a fan and a friend of the show since me and Scott were just mere nobodies, obviously now we are podcast sensations, is Mr. John Ryder. John, I mean, look at this, eh?
Mate, this is plush. I mean, I remember the box show had me locked in last time. Wonder when you can let me out, and then you let me out into the bright lights.
Do you remember that? We used to do it upstairs at the Matchroom office in like a soundproof box. Do you remember? And it was like 50,000 degrees in there.
50,000 degrees. The window was open, but then the bloke was mowing the lawn, and I think we had to close it.
So we had to keep it shut.
Yeah. No aircon there, was there?
No, I know. Now look, sport for choice now.
Space.
If anything, it's too cold in here. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm loving life, enjoying the sport that I've known for so long. Still around so many familiar faces, which is good. Still in the gym with Tony and the boys and girls. It's nice.
Was this always the plan for you? You know, when you look back to the last couple of fights on the biggest of stages, which we'll talk about, Canelo and then Munguia, was this always the exit strategy?
I think so. I think Tony had prepped me for this for a long time. I think I was always going to be his successor. Is that the word? Successor? Yeah, I think he was planning for me to take over from him eventually. I genuinely don't know if that geezer will ever retire. I think his hunger and desire for the sport just seems better than ever. But I'm very fortunate that he's put that faith and trust in me, part of a great gym and working alongside him.
For you, when you think about how you've been able to take to the coaching side of things, how much do you think it honestly helps the fact that you've been a fighter yourself? Because look, there is some great coaches who haven't boxed and vice versa. How important do you think it is, though?
I think it's really good. I think a lot of the younger fighters really like it. They feel like they know I've been there before and done it as well. I've boxed at the biggest stages, and I think they've got that faith when I'm telling them to do something. I'm not telling them just by knowledge. I'm telling them because I've actually done it. So I think they've got a lot of faith in what I tell them and the belief that I've walked the line and done it before them.
When you think about as well what you just said there about, you know, you've been there, done it, the biggest of stages, you know, Canelo Alvarez in Mexico, and when you think about life now, still very much involved in sport and enjoying it, but do you ever, how have you balanced the emotions of, you know, being like top of the sport, and then a couple of years later, you know, you're working in the gym every day? How have you balanced how much your life has changed?
I think it's a slow process. I mean, leaving the sport of boxing, not leaving it, but retiring and then realising that will never be again is a bit of pill to swallow. Takes time, I think. But the whole thing of being around the sport still and training fighters, getting the new buzzes of your own fighters winning, your own fighters progressing, doing things in the gym. And listen, I'd get a high once or twice a year with winning a fight, but now I can get a higher daily or weekly with fighters winning or fighters just doing something I'm telling them to do in the gym and then just feeling the buzz and going, oh, hey.
What's been your favourite night as a coach so far?
As a coach so far? Jimmy and George was very good the other week. Jimmy's good win, and then George beating Conway was very good. I was out in New York with Remner Ali. That was pretty good on the
MSG.
Taylor Serrano 3 at the MSG. Yeah, that was good. But mate, that's just a start. I'm 18 months into a coaching career. I've got the next potentially 30 to 40 years of it. So we'll see.
What's the dream as a coach?
The dream, just world champions. I just want to produce world champions. But I want to produce champions from Southern area, English, British, European, intercontinental. And then I know I've got around my stripes, so I want to do it all.
How good do you think Jimmy and George can be?
Very good. I think it's just a shame we've got two boys in the same weight in the same gym. But listen, they're friends and they never will fight. I get this question, who would win? I think it don't matter who'd win. They won't. No one. They will never fight. They're friends and they're in the same gym. But I think we're just moving along nicely. George is a few fights ahead, and Jimmy's forever learning as George is, but they're progressing at the right speed. And I think over the next 18 months they'll continue to progress like they have been.
On your career, when you think about it as a whole now, I guess firstly, actually, when you do just look back, I think it's been a couple of years now, isn't it, nearly since the Munguia fight?
Yeah, coming up for 2 years now.
When you look back, are you proud?
I am, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of dark times when retirement could have been an option, but I never saw it as an option, just thought I knew that I was destined for bigger and better things, and I'm just glad that I backed myself.
What's the Mount Rushmore top 4 for you, John Ryder career moments?
Have to be Patrick Nielsen. That was I felt like that really announced me back on a probably a world stage up at super middleweight.
The amount of times we posted that knockout clip, by the way, if you haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube right now. I mean, I think I used to do the social media with Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever we were having a quiet day, that was always a solid one to put out and get views. So yeah, I mean, you probably owe me a few thank yous.
Yeah, thank you for
You're
that.
welcome, mate.
Yeah, so Nielsen, I'd say Jamie Cox. That was.
Yep.
I mean, for me, I'd watched Jamie Cox win a Commonwealth Games gold medal before I'd even had an amateur fight. So for me to be in with that calibre opposition was something else. Danny Jacob, just for what he'd done in this sport, unbelievable man. Unbelievable career as well. The second coming of him after his battle with cancer, and to come back and win another world title was remarkable. And tough against the best in Canelo and Golovkin. So that's 3. And I have to put Canelo as 4th, staring down at me, knowing he's just got my soul in his hand.
How many times have you watched that fight?
I only think once. Yeah, it's not something I make a habit of.
Yeah.
I like the thing of getting knocked down and getting back up again, seeing the final bell, but yeah, so that's a time that was.
Was he the best you faced, Canelo?
He was, yeah. He wasn't the biggest puncher. He wasn't wasn't the most technically gifted, but he was special in his own right. He was so accurate with his shots. The power was more than enough, but yeah, just a special fighter.
Is the one night that maybe still stings more than any other night the Callum Smith one?
Yeah, I mean that is a real bitter pill to swallow. That one, I feel like I've done enough there. And that's the one I've watched back the most, probably just to see. And I still have it worse ways, me winning 8 rounds of the 12, and just don't see how the judges come up with their scorecards. But we're seeing it time and time again. We see it the weekend. And listen, I didn't see the fight at the weekend, but something needs to change, doesn't it?
How did you get over that, I suppose? Are you over it, the Callum Smith one?
I don't know. It's a weird question, because after that fight, there were so many promises of like a big fight next year, and like I was always hopeful for that big fight. But then my next fight ended up being Mike Guy in Miami, and it was like that was a year after, because of lockdown and COVID and restrictions. The shows weren't happening, and I mean, it ended up being a tick over in Miami instead of like a big potential world title fight.
But I guess like in terms of still what you're able to achieve from that night, and in terms of how you were able to change your family's lives, you know, I guess everything happened for a reason. Yeah,
of course. And exactly, yeah, you don't know what would have happened there. If I would have got a decision, probably would have been tied up into a rematch. That would have took its time to happen with COVID and stuff. So everything happens for a reason.
How are the new big boys fitting into the gym, by the way? Johnny Fisher and Daniel Dubois?
They're just about fitting through the door. Don't know about fitting in, but no, it's great. It's Tony's way to said it. Boxing's a weird thing. I mean, you look at who was in the gym 6 to 8 months ago, and it was very thin on the ground. There wasn't many there. I mean, there was Jimmy Sains, George Liddard, Conor Benn, Maisie Rose, a few of the girls there. But then, I think in the space of 2 weeks, you've got Johnny Fisher and Daniel Dubois, and it's like how the tide can change.
What's been the biggest difference you've seen in Johnny Fisher, do you think? Because obviously he came to Tony at the lowest time of his career after that defeat to Dave Allen so far, obviously. But what's something you've noticed in him since?
I think I can't comment on how he was before, but he seems in a very good place mentally. He seems happy, and it's weird because I think a big thing was made about his dad being so involved. But I've seen his dad at the gym once, and I just think he's happy to let his son crack on. Same with Daniel. Everyone says about the dads being involved and being front and centre, but I think both parents, I've seen them once, and I think they allow their sons to be what they need to be and get their work done, which is, I think for Tony, is the best thing. Like, he can do his job, he's not being questioned, he's just getting his work done.
What fights do you like for Daniel Dubois?
Daniel Dubois, I like anyone other than Usyk for him. I think he's capable, and it's just down to Daniel, beating Daniel. I think Daniel's his hardest opponent at times. I think AJ was other than Usyk, was the biggest test for him, and I think he come through that with flying colours. So I think for Daniel Dubois, there's no one else to fear.
For Conor Benn, massive night next week in his career. Look, I guess when you think about the pressure, Conor's put a lot of pressure on himself, hasn't he, this time round? He's locked himself away in camp. What have you seen behind the doors of the gym?
Well, I've not seen too much of it, to be honest, because just had my own bits of work to do, but I will pay attention to the spars this week if I'm in and around it at the time. But from what I've seen, he's using his head more than letting his heart take over, and I think that's the key. I think last time out he swinging shots in from his ankles. I think it was just a bit too much, but I think Eubank emptied the tank last time, like when Groves beat Eubank and then went on to fight Cameron Smith, got beat. I feel like this will be a similar version of events.
How does it end then, in your opinion?
I think it ends by Conor Benn being victorious. I'm not sure if it comes by knockout or points, but I think you see a very crisp, sharp Conor Benn next week, and Conor Benn coming away victorious.
Okay, John, look, I do have to say it's great to see you still involved in the sport. Great to see you still smiling, but I do have a big question for you now.
Yep.
The quiz. Face to face to face to face. Probably the most famous quiz in boxing.
Face to face. Too many faces.
Face to face to face to face, right?
Yep.
Are you ready?
I'm born ready.
Okay, here we go. Series 6, episode number 10 of the quiz. Okay, well, welcome to the 10th instalment of Face to Face to Face to Face. Of course, you know by now, the greatest quiz in boxing history. Very happy to say that Chris Tarrant has joined us now in the studio, as of course producer Scott. Listen, John, big Arsenal fan. Scott is a Tottenham hooligan, so I just wonder if you got a message for him right now, sitting pretty, 6 points clear at the top of the league after 10 games.
I'm surprised he's not got the badge in just yet. Hooligan attire. No, just it's quite nice as high as we are. 6 points clear at the top.
I think it's the year, unfortunately. So I've mentally prepared for it already. Got until May just to, I think Arsenal won the league. So what will be, will be.
Do you think you'll do it? Got the depth this year?
I believe we have. We've got an unbelievable squad. Some fantastic signings this season, and I just think, if ever there's been, that's what we've always lacked in the past, is the depth of squad, and I think we've got that now.
They never should have let Ange go. Big mistake.
Oh well.
Big up Ange. Okay, well, John, look, I'm going to hand over to Chris Tarrant over there, who is going to go through the ground rules for the quiz. Just in case you haven't seen it, make sure you listen.
Thanks, Jerry. I was just laughing then, thinking, A, this is very hard, so good luck, John. And B, not a lot of our contestants probably even know who Chris Tarrant is, just because like Leo Tang's 18, so it's nice to have someone who actually knows who Chris Tarrant is.
Yeah, basically, nice way of saying you're old. Yeah. But I've made that joke a few times and no one's laughed.
Everyone's just been like, who's Chris Tarrant?
Cheers, John.
So, John, we're going to bring up on the screen about now a face.
Yep.
Jamie's going to pass you his iPad. You need to tell me essentially who the 4 slices of the face are. There's 2 points on offer for each section of the face. If you don't know, you can ask for a clue, and then if you get it right after the clue, you get 1 point.
Okay.
So where we starting off? Head, eyes, nose, mouth. Any standout? No? Leo Tang at 2 at the bottom's the benchmark. Jimmy Sains, Johnny Fisher from the gym on 6 points. It's quite tough this week, I'm not going to lie.
That is one of the harder ones, I think.
The bottom one, I think, is giveaway because I've had to tie that hair up with a rolled sellotape. I think that's Maisie Rose Courtney.
Correct, 2 points. So you're on the leaderboard. Good start.
I feel like the eyes. No.
You can ask for a clue if you're not sure.
Right. The moustache, the tash, is not Macy Rose. That's what's his name? Is it Ibrahim Suleiman?
Oh, he's got it. 2 points.
Spider.
That's a great shout.
Is that right?
That is correct.
Lovely.
4 points.
4
It's a
points.
great shot.
So
So if you get the next two, or if you get one right and then go for a clue,
How on earth did you
that's
just
a
get
great
that?
shot.
what?
Fair play.
To be fair, not many of our fighters have got a tash, actually, when you think about it.
That's the one I said was Spider in the car. I think we were getting mixed up.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like,
It's a great shot, by the way.
I'm very impressed that you got it.
John is on here for a top spot.
The
Maybe
hairline, I don't know. I'm struggling with
the
the
charity
hairline.
payout could be Mr. Ryder's, maybe, if he finished top of the...
That might be shout of the series, that. Spider's Tash.
Spider's test.
2 to go.
Nah, it's just the eyes. Give me a clue on the eyes.
You want to have a clue?
I want to have a clue on the eyes. Yeah.
The clue is, I've been sparring Jake Paul in the last week. Don't know if you saw that on social media. Preparing for his fight that's now been cancelled. I've been sparring Jake Paul in the last week.
Who's been sparring? Shakur Stevenson. He sparred Shakur, didn't he?
No.
I'm gonna go Shakur Stevenson. Yeah.
1 point, correct?
1 point.
So, John, if you get this right off the bat,
Face.
Yeah.
Your face when you said that, Hyde.
I didn't know where to look. So you've got 5 points in a minute. If you get it right off the bat, the top one,
Yeah.
you go to
Oh,
the
I've
top.
gone off it. Yeah.
Or if you could play calculated here. If you go for a clue and get it right, you go to 6, so you're joint top, and the charity payout at the end of the series could be split 4 ways.
Split 4 ways.
So it depends how you want to play it.
Come on, John. We know what you're made of. You're not in this to
It's quite tough,
finish
though, to be
joint
fair. It's
first. You
just
want to
like-
win.
Yeah. Oh, man, this is so hard. I want that extra point now, so
You want a clue?
no.
Oh, you want to go for it?
I want to go for
Fuck.
it. Yeah.
So he's on 5. You'd be second if you get it wrong. But there's no points or no prizes for second spot here.
No, exactly.
Can cut the tension with a knife in here.
Yeah.
He's fought Callum Smith. He's fought Canelo.
I thought you meant the
He's
clue
fought
there. I
Danny
was like,
Yeah.
Jacobs. No, I'm big up
Right,
John
can I have the
Ryder.
clue for the last one?
oh, okay.
But can he
Okay.
do it?
So if you get this right, you go to the joint top.
Yeah.
I suffered my first pro defeat back in February.
February.
So he's only lost once, and it was back in February.
It's a good clue, that.
Thank you.
Oh man, that's so hard. I'm allowed to Google it.
Who lost in February?
What action fight I lost in February?
No more clues.
Part of me did think Junaid Bostan, but he didn't lose in February, did he? Was that a
No.
draw, wasn't
Did he have that haircut as well? I'm not sure.
it? No, yeah, it's not. It's not that haircut, is it?
More importantly.
Just think of random fighters.
Yeah, I think we're
Well,
going to have to get the
I'm
timer
on
in.
I'm on 5.
You're on 5. You might as well just guess a random.
Let me just set the timer on my Casio.
Dun.
Right, 10 seconds, John.
Not a clue.
As a tail come in, taking a knee.
I'm not. No.
5.
Well, I'm going to kick myself.
Oh, it's been waved off.
Oh, go on. You was going to
Ah.
say. Go on.
What?
I thought you was going to say on the
I'm
bell.
going to say no.
Go on,
Jamie?
guess someone. Anyone.
I think John's too nice. He doesn't want to piss anyone off with their haircut, yeah?
Guess Junaid Bostan again.
No. It's definitely not Jay Boston.
Time's up.
I don't know.
Jamie, go on. Relieve him. Who do you think it is?
I think it's Artur Beterbiev.
You are right. Correct.
Oh, mate. See, I would have said that. I don't really care about. I wouldn't mind as a picture of him there as well. I should have got that.
Oh, you should have said there's a picture
That
of him
was
in
the
this
clue,
room.
yeah, maybe. This
That would have been
hidden
too
clue.
easy.
But you do go alongside the other John.
2 Johns. Couple of Johns there, look.
It's not bad, though.
That's all right.
Better than 2 points. Lera Tang at the bottom.
Should we just do it again?
Thanks, for
John,
coming down,
thanks for
mate.
coming down, mate. Appreciate
Top
it.
man.
Top man.
Legend.
Jamie, what are you reading?
Oh, just reminiscing over the glory years, obviously, with my hero, Henrik Larsson, under the great Martin O'Neill, who's obviously now back
Big
at
win.
Celtic, celebrating a wonderful weekend, mate, of football, really. And, I mean, look, Celtic beat Rangers. How did you go on against your rivals?
I don't know what you're on about.
Bad luck, eh? But it's not for everyone. Is it? But
True.
I must just say, you seen that little skit on Talk Sport, Jason Cundy?
Has anyone seen?
Yeah. Has anyone? Can you hear me, Billy Nelson? Hear me, Cole Frampton. No, I can't hear. I tagged Cole Frampton in an Instagram story, and he didn't even reply.
Oh, I don't blame him, to be fair. But I
Tough
hear
gig, Cole.
Henrik
Tough
Larsson's
gig.
a big fan of Flash Knockdown, actually. So
Well, apparently, yeah, we tried to get him on a few times.
Maybe next week.
I wouldn't be able to speak if Henrik Larsson was in here. He's like ultimate.
I can't speak.
I can't speak. Where's that from? The Darts?
That is Wayne Mardle.
Yeah,
on
Ledge,
the
that's Ledge, that.
the perfect leg when they both was on nines.
Yeah.
They're both on nines. Great scenes.
Yeah, he's ultimate hero, Larson. Who's yours?
All-time, what, sporting hero or...
I guess, right, if you could have a guest on Flash Knockdown.
Well, it need to be kind of relevant to boxing, right?
Nah.
Okay, anyone. I'm a big fan of Flintoff, Freddie Flintoff.
Yeah.
I bumped into him at Ricky's funeral. I've met him before, but even that, it's just like, oh my God, it's Andy Flintoff. So yeah, Andrew Flintoff. Probably say him, to be fair.
Fair.
Obviously, we trained with Shane McGuigan for a fight.
For that fight?
Yeah.
It never happened, did it? No, he did have a fight, didn't he?
He got dropped. A guy called Dawson was the surname, I think.
Oh,
He
yeah, I
dropped
remember
him,
the
put him
fight.
over, and then got a very contentious 4-round decision. Yeah, mad looking back.
Yeah, he was a legend, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I actually used to. I used to watch cricket back then. A few characters in the team then. But listen, Celtic aside, obviously no one cares about that apart from all the thousands of Celtic supporters who love Flash Knockdown. But for Matchroom of late, I must say, in terms of announcements that I'm excited about, I'm very much looking forward to going to Ghana.
Yeah, got the old flights the other day sent through.
Yeah.
We're on the plane.
It was one email, wasn't it, from Frank Smith?
Yeah.
Because I got wind of Ghana a few weeks ago. Obviously, we are a little bit more privy to the information before it hits social media. And Darren Barker, actually, I was telling him about it, and he was like, "Mate, you've got to get us on that." He's like, "Get me on that."
Like the first time is always the best. Like, if we end
Yeah.
up going to Ghana, next March or something, the card could be great, but the first time going somewhere new, getting off the plane into the unknown, obviously never done a show in Africa, it's a historic one. Looking forward to it. Great fight. I'm really, really intrigued by the main event.
Good fight, yeah.
Craig Richards had to wait his turn, and it turns out it's a meaningful fight. So yeah, looking forward to it.
I wouldn't be surprised if the winner fights Ben Whittaker.
Possibly, yeah. You could sort of see the logic behind it, but then listening to Eddie earlier on and catching sort of other snippets and interviews and stuff, it sounds like they're playing the long game. So is Craig Richards, should he come through? Is it a bit too soon? You don't know. Don't know,
but yeah, so excited. But on Mrs. Frank, and I was like, if you need a broadcast team for Ghana, me and Darren are so up for it. Do you know, he is so up for everything, Darren.
But you know what?
His schedule is mental.
And funny enough as well, I said to Frank Smith in Orlando last week, actually, credit to Darren. He's really come on leaps and bounds in his own game behind the mic in the last 2 years. So yeah, great to see his rise as well.
He's doing amazing. And also, I always say this. I know, I do the shows with him, and I started as his T-boy, and we have a very special friendship, me and Darren, aside from boxing anyway. But I actually think when you look at how he is every day, for those who are lucky enough to be his friend, I just think trying to be as content as Darren Barker is one day should be an ambition of everyone.
Yeah, I mean, the fact he's got a world title bout probably goes a long way. He's ticked it off. But yeah, and also just a general top geezer. Yeah. That's probably the only way I can put it.
The
lovely
best,
bloke.
yeah, he is
lovely
the best.
bloke, yeah.
What did you make of the boxing on the weekend? You were in Florida, obviously. And actually, what happened on the way to Florida? You had a bit of an incident, didn't you?
Yes. So I was on the plane listening to a podcast.
Flash Knockdown. God, this Flash Knockdown's pod's brilliant.
Literally, all of a sudden, I thought the earphone was corrupted. Popped it out of my ear. Still could hear this screeching noise in my right ear. Thought that's not very good. About 2 or 3 minutes later, all I could describe was almost like a pop. Got to the hotel late that night, woke up, and turns out my eardrum has been ruptured, and that was confirmed by the doctor that does the medicals at the weigh-in. So I asked Kevin Rooney, our top guy on the ground in America, if he could have a quick word with the doc after he'd done all the fight's medicals.
That's why he never boxed.
He called me over.
You must have been gutted. You never got a fight.
You know what? His actual words were, "If you were fighting tomorrow, I would pull you out." So yeah, I had to get some medication on the deck. Not ideal. And then when I got back home yesterday, straight off to the hospital, and on a course of ear drops and tablets, and hope it heals in the next 12 weeks.
How lucky is your opponent?
Well, yeah.
Blimey.
I'll be calling him out next year.
I know what you put into this camp.
But good show though, to be fair. On paper, probably wasn't one of our stronger ones, but performances from Amari and Pat Brown in particular, as Eddie said, two very, very, very decorated amateurs that are now making their own way in the program.
Pat is a menace, isn't he?
Yeah, you know what? He's almost got...
He's horrible, isn't he?
He's got a switch. And the only other person I can think of off the top of my head is Jaya Pataya, where on a fight day, and in particular when he's gloved up, you don't want to be in the fucking way of him because he will almost have a go at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a menace.
Yeah. I actually messaged him and I was saying, turns out clay pigeon shooting's quite good then to round
Get
off
your
the
eye
training
in.
camp. Get your eye in. But I think he's going to be a big problem, Pat Brown. I know it's early days, but he was tough, that Valera. You know, he was picked for rounds, and he was really picked for rounds this time. You know, they really tried to find someone who was going to be tough and take him in, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds. You know, to get rid of him in, what was it? 2 rounds like that, you know. Big statement.
Yeah, you say there, he's only 4 or 5 fights in. It's one of them ones. You don't want to move him too quick, but at the same time, you can't hold him back. I'm sure he'll have an eye on the English title fight in December that we have, and maybe even beyond that already for next year. So, yeah, interested to see
that left hook's his best shot, I think.
Naughty.
Dave Allen said, didn't he, to us once, he was like, because I know they have loads of banter about who the alpha in the gym is, and they sparred, and he said Pat hit him with that short left hook, and he said it was like,
wow,
like
it's a problem. It's going to be a problem, and also the division as well. It's kind of opened up a little bit. I think 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a little bit further back than that, it was arguably the monsters at the top, and it was stacked. It's probably not as stacked as it was, so it's a good time to come up in the next year or so and really make a dent on the world soon.
Yeah, I think he'll want to. I spoke to him, didn't he doesn't seem that bothered about belts, and he just wants to be remembered for being in great fights, which is a proper throwback attitude.
Do his dad proud. I don't know if you saw the interview.
Yeah, the interview
was
was brilliant. Yeah, shout out IFL for go and check that out actually on IFL TV. It's a really wholesome interview, isn't it, with his dad?
It's also in the ring actually as well. He said it in the ring as well.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
They're literally 2 peas in a pod, aren't they? Them two.
Mate, I've met the dad for the first time properly on this trip. Side on, the spit of Pat Brown. Like when he's older, Pat would just morph into him. I would imagine. Yeah. Lovely family.
But you look at that domestic cruiserweight scene. Obviously John Hedges was in the studio the other week. He's got the English title. Is that a fight that could maybe happen next year if he comes through? Ellis Sorrow. Even I think if you're Pat Brown, you're looking at Chev Clark. You're looking at Vidal Riley, Chris Billum-Smith. You're looking at all these guys. And I think with a pedigree, I don't think he's far away. I think he needs a couple of fights to go long and just see how he copes with the longer distance. I think he'll be fine. But just maybe probably speak to fighters from a mental perspective just to tick that box before you go into a big fight that you can do, the 10 rounds at least. But I think in terms of ability, I don't think people will be queuing up to fight Pat Brown.
No, that's a problem. You mentioned some names there, and it's almost like, why would they want to fight him? With the greatest respect, unless you were being offered an absolute shitload of money. But with his fan base behind him, that could open that up, couldn't it? He's one who could headline the big arenas. So really excited about his journey ahead.
Okay, yeah, well, plenty to look forward to with regards to Pat Brown. Plenty to look forward to for ourselves as well. Of course, next week, as if you needed reminding, is the big one. Unfinished Business, presented by the Ring magazine. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, part 2, from once again at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. Thanks very much to our guest this week, of course, promoter Eddie Hearn, to Sonny Edwards, who quickly, just before we wrap up, is he coming back?
If I'd say yes or no, I'd say yes. Just a hunch.
I think boxing misses Sonny Edwards.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Well, he's not really gone away, has he? He said that himself. He's been involved, doing a great job on the commentary desk, but I think there's more nights left in the Sonny Edwards boxing story as a fighter.
Like he says, around that division, you probably need characters like that. So, I'll say yes if I had to.
Okay, well, that all remains to be seen. Thanks very much to Leli Buttigieg for making his way into the studio, as well as the Gorilla. John Ryder, massive week for him, of course, next week here in London for the Tony Sims Gym. Thanks to producer Scott for all his work behind the scenes, and thanks for you, lovely lot, for continuing to watch and support the greatest podcast in boxing. We'll see you next week to preview the big one. Take care.
What a shot! The female